Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlene and today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions Book Tag. I figure at this point my channel is new, why not just get the controversial opinions out there and then they're done and dealt with. So that's why we're doing this video today. I think most of you are probably familiar with this tag by now. It's been around for quite a while. There are 9 questions, so let's just go ahead and get into them. Question number 1 is a popular book or series you didn't like. And yep, we're going to start this video out with a bang. The book that I'm going to go with is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I know this is super popular. So many people love this book. I couldn't even finish it. I made it probably 75% of the way through and I just couldn't do it. It was slow. I didn't connect with the writing. It had moments where it was interesting, but it had a lot of lulls in between. I don't know. I don't know what it was about this book. There are other books by her that I know are well liked, but I don't even know where to start because I didn't enjoy this one. I loved the movie adaptation. I watched it later and I loved that one. The one by Alfred Hitchcock, not the newer one. That one I haven't seen. But I don't know. I struggled to read this book and finally had to give up. So I like the story. I just couldn't get into the book. I'm sorry. Question number 2 is a popular book or series you loved but everyone else seems to hate. I feel like a lot of people did not like this book. So I went into it expecting not to like it, but it was a gift. I wanted to give it a try, and I'm glad I did because I'm very much in the minority on this one. And that is The Ballad of Songbooks and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I loved this book. I understand why some people didn't care for it. It is slower paced compared to The Hunger Games. But I also feel like that was kind of the point. This book takes place during the 10th annual Hunger Games. The Hunger Games series takes place during the 74th Hunger Games. To me, the whole point with the Hunger Games itself in this book is the fact that they were boring. People weren't watching them. People weren't interested in them. The Capitol was trying to figure out how to get people in the Capitol interested and how to force the people in the districts to watch the Hunger Games. So I feel like most of the book plays off of this whole thing is boring and it's not interesting. How can we do it differently to make it interesting? Which then turns it into what the games are in the 74th Hunger Games that we see with Katniss. I don't know. I'm in the minority on this one. I loved this book, beginning to end. So, yeah. You cannot agree with me. That is perfectly okay. I understand, but I love this one. Hello everyone, it's Editing Charlene because apparently I missed 2 questions when I filmed this earlier. So, question number 3 is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you did not want them to end up with, or an OTP that you don't like. And the best example I could think of for this from a book that I read more recently is the couple that ends up together in Change of Heart by Courtney Walsh. I just read this book last year. I read the first book in the duology a couple years ago, really liked it. But this one, not so much, because I really felt like the 2 characters should not have ended up together. It did not feel like this was going to be a healthy relationship. And now we'll go back to the video, but you'll see me later. Question number 4 is a popular book genre you hardly reach for. And I think the best answer for this question for me is contemporary romance. Even when I do pick them up, they don't tend to be more than 3, maybe 4 stars. I don't know what it is. I've enjoyed several rom-com movies, but I can't get into contemporary romance books for the most part. I don't know why. I don't know if I just haven't found the right author or if it's just not a genre for me. I tend to like them in movies. I don't tend to like them in books. Question number 6 is a popular or beloved character that you did not like. And I'm going to get a lot of people mad at me over this one, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's very true. Sorry to all of you Robin Hobb fans out there. I don't like Night Eyes. I know he is a super popular character. So many people like him. He annoyed me. I'm not going to say anything about him. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't read the book. But he annoyed me. I understand why he was the way he was. But it didn't mean I liked him on page. I'm sorry. I don't even have anything else to say about it, unfortunately. I haven't read Assassin's Quest. I've only read Royal Assassin. I don't know if that changes anything. But sorry, was not a fan of his character. Hello, I'm back again. So question number 6 is a popular author that you can't seem to get into. And I have 2 answers for this question. The first is an author that is fairly popular on Christian BookTube, and that is, unfortunately, Jamie Jo Wright. I tried to read one of her books, The Curse of Misty Wayfarer, a couple years ago, and I just could not do the ghost story. I've thought about going back to the book because I've heard more about how Jamie Jo Wright does her books and does the ghosts in her stories. But there's something about the fact that we deal with a ghost that seems all too real that I can't deal with. So I've had to put her books aside. Another author is a very popular classics author. Please don't hate me, but I don't know, you already might by this point in the video. But that is Jane Austen. I read Pride and Prejudice by her, and while I liked the story, I couldn't really get into her writing. I've seen an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. I've seen an adaptation of Sense and Sensibility. I've read a graphic novel adaptation of Sense and Sensibility and Emma and Northanger Abbey. And the only one I really didn't care for a whole lot was Emma. The rest of them I really enjoyed. But I don't know, something about her writing style doesn't work for me. I wish it did because she seems to write really good books, but it just doesn't. Question number 7 is a book trope that you are tired of seeing, such as The Lost Princess, The Corrupt Ruler, etc. And the main one I could come up with for this one that's a more recent trope that I've seen and not liked is the instant expert. The person who learns how to do something very complicated, something that takes a lot of work to master, and they learn it very quickly. I'm not a fan of that trope at all. I mostly remember seeing this in the new trilogy for Star Wars with Rey, with the new Star Trek movies with Captain Kirk and things like that. But I've also been seeing it in books, and I'm not a fan of it. The main 2 books or series I can think of that use this trope are the Amulet series by Kazuki Buishi. I mentioned this when I did my wrap-up for Wave Rider, that I think the reason this trope is used is because it's middle grade and it's a graphic novel, and graphic novels tend to be faster paced. But this shows up in the first 2 or 3 volumes of this series where the main character is able to learn to use magic that she didn't even know existed prior to the start of this series very quickly. The other book I can think of that really used this one, and honestly it's a book I've never heard anyone talk about, and I don't think I would have heard of it if I hadn't gotten a box subscription, and that was Magician's Impossible by Brad Abraham. For a book that seem to want to not only not use the chosen one trope, but also kind of poke fun at the idea of the chosen one. The main character feels like a chosen one. He learns how to do everything very quickly, even though everyone tells him it normally takes years to master just one level of magic. And he learns how to do all of them within a few days. I don't understand. There is also a similar vein to this, and that is a character being able to solve or figure something out that people have been working on for years and years. No one's been able to figure out, but suddenly the main character can, despite not really having any prior expertise that would help you understand why they were able to figure this out. And the main book I can think of that did this is The Unbreakable Code by Jennifer Chambliss Burtman. This is the second book in the Book Scavenger series. I loved book one. Book one is full of puzzles, and they are meant to be solvable by other people because it's a game. Book three is an escape room. The puzzles are meant to be solvable by the participants. It makes sense that these kids who do a lot of puzzles can solve them. However, in this book, we have a hidden code or hidden message or something to that effect that no one has been able to solve for over 100 years. And this includes puzzle experts. But somehow these kids are going to come in and they're going to solve it? I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. All right. Hopefully the camera didn't move too much, but my battery died. So question number 8 is a popular series you have no interest in reading. And the only answer I could come up with for this one off the top of my head was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. From what I've heard, it's a romantasy, and I have no interest in that particular genre. So it's partially, I have no interest in the genre more so than just the specific book, but I know it's a really popular book. I don't know how well loved the second book is, but I know the first book is well loved, and I personally just don't have an interest in it. And question number 9 is, the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie do you think was better than the book? And for me, this is a really easy answer. It's Earthsea, or The Legend of Earthsea, depending on which title you want to go with. This was a mini series that came out on, I believe, the Sci-Fi Channel back in the early 2000s, and it mostly covers the first and supposedly the second books in the Earthsea cycle. However, the part of the movie that covers the first book is reasonably loyal to the first book. The part that covers the second book is completely different. I read the first 3 books in the series, and I ended up DNFing the 4th one. I just couldn't get into the series. And I really did not care for the second book. That was probably my least favorite of the 3 I finished. And I like what the miniseries, I almost said movie. I like what the miniseries did a whole lot better with the characters in the second book than what the book did. And I know Earthsea is a well-loved series by so many fantasy fans. I just couldn't get into it, unfortunately. But I absolutely love the miniseries, and I've watched it multiple times. So those are all the questions for today. Sorry if I made any of you mad. I know there are going to be a lot of controversial answers here, but it is called the Unpopular Opinions Book Tag for a reason. Also, feel free to leave your answers to the questions down in the comments below. Even if you don't like books that I do like, or you like books that I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So feel free to leave me your unpopular opinions. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like and subscribe down below. And I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.